All right, welcome everyone. Sorry it's 2 minutes late. We were jabbering about things. If you haven't signed in yet in the agenda, Nick's going to keep posting that in chat because we can't pin it yet because Google timeline's a little off. Don't take this video down from YouTube, Google. We apologize. Um, I will go ahead and share my screen so you can follow along on the agenda as well. If you would rather do that, then keep it up on your own screen. Um, Pretty short meeting. We just got a few things to do. The last meeting was our January mandatory meeting. And if you want to follow up with details, there's a lot in this document to follow up with. New board members, mentors for new schools. We're still looking for game managers. That's a plug. If you're interested in helping out with specific games and titles, not necessarily knowing all the answers, but being willing to learn and help us run some of the specific games, consider reaching out to us to help with that. We had League OS present, and they talked about the college portal. Again, if you haven't done a lot with that, remind your students that's going to really take off soon. We're onboarding more and more Indiana colleges and universities onto that platform, which is great for us and for our students. So if you have questions about that, again, reach out and we can discuss. Then we went into a lot of details about spring, which we don't need to do. We did announce that we were reevaluating the state of academy leagues for 2024 school year, 24-25. We'll have more details on that later. And we announced a somewhat big change for Indiana Esports Network, which is that we're looking at charging schools to compete in the varsity level competition only, $100 for your school for the whole year, and there will always be a free to play level of club in addition to that. More details in the January recording, which is on YouTube. So, new business. This is break week. Hopefully, we're all on that same page. Next week is the last week of the fall split for both middle school and high school. All matches need to be reported by March 1st, which is next Friday. I know it's crazy, but next Friday is March at 11:59 p.m. That is absolutely as late as possible because then we get to turn around on Saturday as a board and spend our day together generating all the playoff seedings for matches for you all to start playing the following Monday. We looked at having a larger break period between when the spring split ended and playoffs started. Just with the calendar, it doesn't really work out. So we know there's not a lot of turnaround time, but we will get that done as early as possible on Saturday for you to be able to check your schedules and see who you're playing in playoffs the following week. Next week is the last week of competition for all academy and club levels of competition. There are no postseasons for those two divisions. You're free to schedule your own matches with other schools. The Discord is great for that. If there's enough interest, we can consider running some like scheduled scrims on League OS. We can explore what that looks like. But I think that the easiest way for all of us is just jump in Discord and see who's ready to play. Tournament titles are a little bit different. Remember, Tetris, Chess, Fortnite, and iRacing continue for 2 extra weeks. The week of March 4th and the week of April 8th. Both of those weeks for double points. So students who are competing there, it feels a little better to wrap up the season with an impactful event as opposed to just kind of trailing off into oblivion. But we didn't like a separate tournament that didn't really incorporate everything that happened during the regular season. So this change is hopefully that meaningful end to the season while still keeping track of and giving precedence to what happened throughout the entire year as well. Winners for all those tournament titles will be announced and recognized at the finals event, which we'll talk about later. So keep in mind if your students are in contention for that, consider reminding them like, hey, winners for the tournament titles will be recognized and announced at finals. Like we said, playoffs begin the week of March 4th. Playoffs are for varsity teams only, no playoffs for academy and club. Uh, every team that competed in spring will make playoffs. So regardless of your standings, regardless of your win-loss, provided you didn't forfeit every match, we will seed you into playoffs. And it's a single elimination bracket from there. Most divisions, and by most I mean all except one, work out that they have fewer than 16 teams, and then the 4-week playoffs will work fine. Triple A Super Smash Brothers Varsity will have a conversation with you all. There's enough teams there that we're going to have to do something a little bit different. Look out for a message for that in the Discord soon. We'll explain what that is. It shouldn't be a big deal, but We just want to make you aware that there is a little hiccup in that we have so many teams that we need to tweak the schedule a little bit for that. The bracket will be seeded based on results from both fall and spring. So if you only competed in spring, that's fine. You'll have a lower playoff seeding than the teams that have accumulated points from both fall and spring, but you're still in the tournament and still get to compete. There's a few questions in chat about that. Does middle school Fortnite have 2 extra weeks? Also, yes, middle school Fortnite will. Oh wait, no, Nick, we decided no. Yep, sorry, no. Middle school will end after next week. Nick said no. I should just read. What are we expecting for Class A Rocket League? James, we'll make that announcement as well. I forgot about Class A Rocket League and the way that worked out, but we will. We'll ping. I think it's 3 of you in chat, which we talked at the beginning of the season about. We'll recap that again and make sure everyone's on the same page for what that will look like to you. So IEN Finals Details. We want to make sure we take some time to do this. There's a link to the flyer with all the finals details. You should have seen that in the newsletter as well, but in case you missed it, there it is. That's a good document to share with administrators, parents, family, anyone who might be interested in what our finals event is about. There's a rough schedule there. We're looking at check-in opening at 7:15, a bit earlier than it was last year, but we're trying to make sure we end on time. We're also having more events and more going on that day, so we do need to start a little bit earlier. Opening ceremony at 8:15 with matches kicking off at 8:30 and lasting until about 4:30. We'll publish the schedule soon. We are still mostly segregating throughout the day classes or divisions, so single A, double A, and triple A. But it is our hope that you all make arrangements to be there for the whole day. This is the one time we get together and we get to be able to see each other, network with each other. But it's also a day full of events for you and for students that we think is worthwhile for you to plan on being there for the duration. Again, we're not precluding you from joining if you can't, but that is our hope, that we plan an event that is worth your while for the whole day from 8 to 5. We will have one single award ceremony at the end where we'll crown all the champions, give away all the door prizes that sponsors are donating for the event, all those sorts of things. We'll be at 5 p.m. Shouldn't last longer than half an hour, and we'll all be wrapped up by 5:30 on our way home. Here's a list of activities that are in that flyer as well. We're crowning 17 state champions, which seems insane, but we're going to do it all in a single day. We're going to have a college fair, which is new. So we have about 20 colleges and universities that have esports programs looking to be there and recruit our students, the cream of the crop, the best of the best from the state of Indiana. This is something that students haven't really had access to before. Just to be able to show up in one spot and network and meet 20 different college programs who they might consider attending for their post-secondary education. If you were at finals last year, you're aware that we had some programming sessions. Those are professional development sorts of things for players, for you as adults, for other adults in your building, maybe administrators, athletic directors who aren't as involved in esports as all of you are, and for the community at large. Maybe there are other stakeholders in your community who want to learn about what esports is. All of these things are going to be at play for different sessions. If you look at the program survey that's linked there, that Chris and Carlos made, there's examples of what we did last year, also opportunities for you to tell us what was valuable and what you want to see that is not currently offered. So that is a great chance for you to provide feedback. Share that with your students, share that with your stakeholders, your parents, on what would be meaningful for them to see at this sort of event. There are lots of options listed there as well, but we're bringing in, like I said, 20 colleges who are going to have representatives that are going to lead sessions, some of them. We're going to have vendors there as well, looking to help you outfit your esports spaces in your school. We're going to have administrators from schools who currently offer esports talking about what it looks like and means at their school for new schools to be involved. So all of these sorts of things. Parents, what does it mean to be a parent of an esports athlete? How do you help your students? What does that look like? Individual students getting coaching sessions from college level players on their specific game and expertise that maybe we can all provide. Lots and lots of great stuff there to be considering. Also, broadcast internships. So your students are free to apply to basically have a day internship with Ball State's broadcast program. for broadcasting our finals matches. We're going to run 4 concurrent streams that day, so we need a lot of help with producing those streams. Ball State will train and equip the students, and they can be a part. I know a few of my students did that last year, and I know some of yours did as well. They loved it. It was a great opportunity for them to get some visibility, but also to learn something that's marketable. We mentioned there's also a vendor fair, so if you're looking for specific equipment or want to network with who can provide that to your school or district, there will be vendors as well. And a kind of late addition is Ball State's Collegiate Overwatch Championship, the ESC conference, is going to be held concurrently with our state finals event at Ball State. So the top 4 Overwatch teams from the ESC conference will be competing probably Saturday and Sunday is what they're thinking, but there'll be an opportunity for students to see a championship collegiate Overwatch competition and network and view that as well as interact with those schools as well. So there's a lot going on. It's going to be, I think, the best event we've ever hosted. So what we're asking you is to continue to consider attending. Right? Obviously, if your team makes it to finals, then you'll be there, hopefully. And if not, you're still welcome. The best event in the country. Yeah, we're putting a lot of work into this, so we hope that it turns out exactly like we envision, and I think we're on a good track for that. April 8th, the eclipse has been coming up in conversation a lot on the Discord. Uh, we're those northern schools, some of us that are like, what's going on? Why is everyone freaking out? And then there's all these other schools that are like, well, our town population is going to quadruple this day because everyone's traveling in. So it's kind of this weird dichotomy of where the path of totality intersects our little areas of the state. That being said, April 8th is a day where there's already no club competitions. We're done with that. There's no academy competitions. The only things that are taking place are varsity playoffs, which can be rescheduled if necessary, and Tetris. So really, the options for Tetris are we cancel or we continue. Canceling feels bad because that's the last opportunity for students to play. There's not really an opportunity for rescheduling either. So just based on the way the calendar works. So the decision the board made was to keep Tetris as scheduled, but to relax the supervision requirements for you as coaches. So Tetris can be played on basically any device, on a cell phone, on a Chromebook, on a laptop, whatever. So what we're allowing is for you, as long as you are in, like you are reachable by your student and you're reachable on Discord, you don't have to be directly supervising them in a video call or whatever or in person like you normally do. We recognize some schools are closed, some students are taking the day off even if schools aren't closed. We want to be as permissive as possible, but we still want to provide that opportunity for students and don't want them to feel shorted out on the last competition of their game for the year. So we probably will lose some students who can't play, and that will feel bad for them, and that's unfortunate. But the decision was made. We thought that it would be the best of both worlds to relax the supervision requirement, still offer the competition to try to help as many students as possible be able to compete. If you have questions about specifically what that means for you guys, ask, and we'll be happy to help. But that's the decision we reached. And again, varsity playoffs, you're free to reschedule as long as it takes place within that week so that we can continue the playoff schedule overall as noted. 24-25 planning. So it's kind of the way things work out that yes, we're simultaneously working on finals for this year, but also having to plan what next year looks like. So we've already started that planning process as a board as well. Evaluating this year, how it's gone, and looking forward to next year and what changes we may need to make. Linked here is the IEN Spring Survey. This is a yearly thing that we do where we gather your data and your feedback on different areas and figure out what that means for us as a league. Please fill that out. That is the best way that you can provide feedback. We try to internalize feedback that you give us all the time and make notes on conversations we have and these sorts of things. But this is really the most meaningful chance and time for us to get all of that feedback in one spot as we're planning for what the next school year looks like. We really would like that feedback by a date that I put in the survey and can't remember at the moment. I believe it's next Friday. Is that right? Someone's going to find out and tell me. But there is a date on there just so that we can make sure that we're planning and looking at those sorts of things in a timely manner.
Next Friday was for the program survey.
Okay. And the spring survey, I think we put a date on too. March 1st. Yep. So we know that's only a little bit of time, but it shouldn't take you very long. The reason for that deadline is come our March board meeting, we're going to start evaluating these things in the planning cycle because we're going to release the schedule and titles and all the information to you at our May meeting, which means that gives us the months of March and April to get everything done and finalized. We are already considering some potential format changes to a few titles. So if in particular you have suggestions about chess, Fortnite, and Super Smash Brothers, we're looking at those sorts of things. Without going into too much detail, we realize chess is really long. It's the longest title we offer by far, and that causes some issues for some schools. So we're looking at what it might mean to change that. Fortnite is Fortnite and a sticking point in lots of different ways. We're evaluating what that looks like. We ran some middle school tests today of some things that we might try out. We're looking at a few other options. I think it's safe to say the board is excited about at least a few of them and what that could mean to bring Fortnite more in alignment to our other titles, offer you the ability to offer it to more students. So there's lots of interesting things we're evaluating there. We just can't make announcements until we evaluate the validity of all of them and make sure we can legally do what we want to do, which I think is a side that a lot of people don't realize is we have to have publisher agreements with every title publisher that we play for. So there's a lot that goes on in the background that we have to make sure we abide by agreements for. And Super Smash Brothers, in that a lot of people are, I don't know, a lot of people, some people are frustrated with the current format of best of twos and allowing ties. So we're looking at how we can change that without adding a bunch of time, but still making it meaningful. So those are the three biggest ones that are on our radar. That doesn't mean that we won't make other changes. Please let us know if you have feedback about anything that we do, title specific, format specific, and we'll consider them. What didn't make this list, but we're also discussing, is revamping the entire competition structure. Maybe we move to regional competitions instead of divisions. There's lots of conversations on the table. So if you have an idea, voice it. It might sound crazy, but it's probably something we've thought of or are at least willing to hear. And then the last thing is supporting IEN. Why and how? The why we voice a lot. We think Indiana Esports Network is worth doing. At least most of us do most of the time. Sometimes Nick has to talk me off the ledge. But for the vast majority of the time, we think that we're making a difference in students' lives, and we think it's worth doing. That being said, you know we're all volunteers. You know that we all have our day jobs and run our own programs. So how do we make it sustainable? And the sustainability conversation is one that we're really digging into now as a board of how do we make IEN into an organization that will outlast all of us? And what does it look like? How do we make that become a reality? A lot of that involves the financial side of things, right? We are, I'm going to say, 99% certainly done with the days of putting in our personal monies to make sure the website stays up. But we have to continue along that path. We have to figure out how to be sustainable. Part of that comes from the finance structure of next year, but part of it is finding partners. There's lots of ways that you can support IEN that's not monetarily. Visibility on social media, even just posting about what your program is doing and tagging the Indiana Esports Network account helps us show how many members we have and helps us show people who are looking for partnerships what it means to the schools that are involved. There are other ways, and we're really trying to make them visible about the Walmart and Kroger donation programs. Or we recently were just approved and verified as a PayPal Giving Fund charity. So you should be able to find Indiana Esports Network on even more online platforms as a charitable organization. My personal favorite is Humble Bundle. If you're not familiar with Humble Bundle, it's software groups and packages that are free with a donation to a charity, and some of them you get to choose your own charity for. So you can find Indiana Esports Network on things like that. And while you're buying games or software packages, also support IEN. There's lots of ways, like we said, we try to highlight them in the newsletter. We'll, I'm going to give my intern a job of putting all these in a nice visible graphic as well, so that we can try to share that out with all of you. But I guess the moral of the story is we're all trying to do our best, and we hope you see that. But we do need to keep working towards being a sustainable organization and figuring out what that looks like. And with that, I think I'm done. I always feel like I talk so much, but I try to do it quick. So, questions in chat. Did we miss anything? Best forum for voicing format change discussion. Yep, the spring survey asks exactly what you're talking about. SSBU stand to deliver 1v1s. Yeah, that's an option. Put that in the survey as an option for what you're thinking. We can't promise anything, but other than that we'll read all of what you comment and discuss it. We can promise that. At this point, if you have questions, you are free to stay and hang out. You can drop in chat, or once I stop the recording, you can unmute. Again, biggest thing, we're here to help you. We want to know how we can support you. Let us know. Discord, email, reach out to us however you like. You can let us know in League of West chat as well. There's a little like administrator button, and there's lots of things that you can do. But we're here to help and support you as you help and support students in your program. So with that, thank you. Hopefully this wasn't too big of a waste of time. And we're looking forward to wrapping up the season and starting playoffs next week.